Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Medical Classes by Dr. Srinidhi Kumar Acharya. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and also give your valuable comments. So, in the last few classes, we were discussing about the concept of getting a healthy progeny through Ayurveda. And we have completed many parts. We have completed, in order to get a healthy progeny, what should be done in the adolescence period, what should be done in the premarital period, what should be done in the preconceptional period, what should be done post-conceptionally. Then we have also seen the concept of Shadbhavas in the early embryonic period, how the different changes take place. A Avyakta Prakriti becomes Vyakta, and what is the role of maternal, paternal, etc. Shadbhavas. And all these factors we have already discussed. And we have also seen their role in the development of a healthy progeny. Now today we will have the continued part of the same. After the first trimester of pregnancy, what should be the care which is taken to the fetus so that a coming offspring will be healthy and with optimal qualities. And that will be discussed under the heading of organogenesis, or the concept of Daurhuda and importance of Daurhuda care. So that we will discuss today. Now, intrauterine growth is one very important stage in the life of the person, because a life begins as soon as the conception starts. So therefore, at the time of the birth, the fetus or child is 9 months old. So these 9 months are also counted under the Vayomana by Kashyapa. Garbha Bhala Kumarakyam Ityetam Trabidambaya. So Garbhakala is counted under the age group. Therefore, this also shows that how much importance that Ayurveda has given to the intrauterine growth, because it is counted in the lifespan of the child itself, that period. So fetal events are equally responsible for the growth of the future, growth and future of the child. Anyway, so it's clear that the psychological development takes place with the interaction of the natural endowment and the environmental factors. So one thing is very clear: when the fetus is developing, it is not only the physical growth of the fetus which is important. It is also the psychological growth of the fetus is equally important. Psychological growth, or you can say mental growth. So this also takes place, or this also starts from the fetal period itself. So when I say by intrauterine period is normal, means I have to maintain the physical growth and I have to also maintain the psychological growth. Then only I can claim that intrauterine growth is or intrauterine period is normal and healthy. So as per Ayurveda, it's very clear that the psychological development of the child during the intrauterine period, it takes place with the interaction between the natural endowment which is present, that is Atma, and the Satmya Jabhavas, environmental factors, Satmya. So because Satmya environment means uterine environment, then spermatic environment, oocytic environment, we have all discussed. So that particular environment is also important, and the natural endowment of the fetus, Atma Bhava or Atmaja Bhava, that is also important. And there is the interaction between these two factors, and as a result, there is development of the psychological facets. Now, as for Ayurveda, every individual will have his own constitutional setup, which is also called as Prakriti or Avyakta Prakriti, and which is also called as endowment, that we have seen in the last class. So characters of the previous life or deeds of the previous life, there is a concept of Punarjanma and concept of Atma entering into the new body with his previous deeds, and that is responsible for entry of the Atma inside and also responsible for Atmaja Bhava. That also we have seen in the last class. Now, there is a character of the previous life which is coming to this life also. Ayurveda believes in the Punarjanma. Ayurveda believes in the concept of Atma entering from one body to another body. Transmigration of the Atma has been believed by Ayurveda. So therefore, this will be witnessed by viewing some of the situation. For example, observing the individual's talent. When we observe the individual's talent, some kid is very, very fantastic in music. Some are very good in mathematics. Some are very good in arts. Some are very good in painting, although their parents are not expert of that. So how this is possible? That is because of the natural endowment of the child. That is because of natural endowment of the child. So this endowment is called as avyakta prakriti, and its immediate next presentation is called as mahat tattva. Okay, so we are more concentrating on the psychological growth of the fetus during the intrauterine period. Physical growth, we know that nutritional support should be given, mass anumasic garbhavruddhi should be done, everything is there, paricharya is there. Now mass anumasika garbha paricharya is also there, and we have also got mass anumasika garbhavruddhi lakshanas also, that given a fair idea regarding the physical growth of the child. Now we are today concentrating on psychological growth of the child. So now here that particular endowment is called as avyakta prakriti, and its immediate next presentation is called as mahat tattva. So now this is the first factor produced in the creation of the man. Okay, even in the, I'm talking in the embryonic period also. So this is the first factor produced in the creation of the man or embryo during the reproduction. Okay, so now if you see the origin of the universe, there also there is creation of such a mahat tattva. And if you see the creation of a zygote, and its the immediate first expression is always in the form of mahat tattva. The endowment or mahat contains certain inherited reservoir of individualized but unorganized drives. Now, this particular endowment, so which we also called as the contribution of the Atma, this particular Atma, it contains some of the inherited reservoirs of qualities. Okay, reservoir some of the qualities. It contains certain inherited reservoir of individualized but unorganized drives. It has got some drives. That Atma has got some inherited drives. That drives, you can call it as vibrations, you can call it as energy, or whatever you can call it. It has contained certain this type of inherited reservoir of drives. Okay, and these drives which are present in the Atma in an inherited way, and that is called as Id. Or in terms of Ayurveda, the same is called as Ahankara. Okay, it is also called as Id, or it is also called as Ahankara. Now, what do you mean by Id? Id is nothing but an impulsive part of our psyche which responds to the external environment. Okay, so Id is nothing but the impulsive part of our psyche. Our psyche has got an impulsive part, and that impulsive part is called as a Id. Now, this is directly response. Okay, our psyche, and it's a response to directly and immediately on the basic urges and the desires. So this is very important. This particular drive which is present, which is also called as Id, now it responds directly and immediately to certain basic necessity and desires. Okay, and this operates by pain and pressure principle. Pain and pressure principle, as told by Sigmund Freud. So it's somewhat a similar explanation with the Sigmund Freud's explanation. Okay, so this operates by pain and pressure principle that we will discuss later. Okay, so which is the idea that every wishful impulse should be satisfied immediately, regardless of the consequences. So what this Id, or that particular vibration which is present in the Atma, what is the basic nature of this is, it works on pain and pleasure principle, and it has got some set of desires, it has got some set of basic urges, and these urges has to be satisfied by any way, irrespective of the consequence. Whatever may be the consequence, that desires has to be fulfilled. This can be also called as primitive urges of the individual, or primitive drives. Okay, so Id is the most basic part of the personality. Now we have got certain basic desires. What is that? Food, getting nutrition or getting nourished, that is one of the basic urge. Okay. Similarly, getting shelter or security, that is another basic urge. Similarly, the sexual gratification, that is also one of the basic urge. Similarly, the hunger. So we have to satisfy our hunger. That is the basic urge. So these are the urges. So they has to be satisfied by any means, irrespective of any situation, because these are the basic urges. This is present in the microorganisms also. This is present in the man-like complex person also. A microorganism, one cell, single cell microorganisms like amoeba also have these basic urges. And a complex man, like complex person like man, also has got these urges. These urges are present everywhere. Therefore, they are called as basic urges. So Eid, this has to be satisfied. This is the only intention of Eid. Eid has got some basic impulsive pulses, impulsiveness. What is this impulsiveness? It want to get fulfill these 4 or 5 things like shelter, like security, then like food, then like satisfactory gratification, and like the love, concern, etc. So this has to be fulfilled. This is the basic urge. Now, Eid is the most basic part of the personality. It represents the most animalistic and primitive urges like food, security, sex. This is what I told you. Okay, it seeks instant gratification. Not only this much, it wants instant gratification for the want and desires. So it is not ready to wait. It has to be fulfilled immediately. It has to be fulfilled. Okay, so this is called as Eid. Now, if these desires are not met, then the person becomes tense, angry, and anxious. Suppose if your basic needs are not fulfilled, basic urges are not fulfilled, we are talking at the level of Eid, then what actually it needs to change in your psyche? Because you become tense, you become angry, you become anxious. If you're not getting shelter, if you're not getting food, if you're not getting sexual gratification, which are the basic urges, then definitely you will be tense, angry, and anxious. So therefore, always we say Eid means it is immoral. It will not see whether it is moral or immoral. Okay, just like a hungry person, he never think about dharma and adharma. Okay, so he always want a food. That's all, by any means. Similarly, this particular Eid is illogical. Illogical. It's out of logic. It wants, that's all. Then it lacks unity of the purpose. There is no unity of the purpose and get expression in the later part of the life through the indriya. The same Eid will be get expressed in the later part of the life of the fetus through the indriyas. Now, therefore, this Eid is compared with ahankara because ahankara also carries the same meaning. Ahankara is again immoral, it is illogical, and there is lack of unity. Okay, it is immoral. Ahankara means what actually it wants, the basic desire. It is ready to do anything for that particular fulfillment. Okay, so therefore it is considered under ahankara. So Eid is the first part of the mahat. Now, what is the Eid and its interpretation? Now, this is very important. This Eid is nothing but ahankara in Ayurveda. And these are instinct, very sudden instinct and unorganized drives. Some of these drives which are present here, they are stabilizing. And some of the drives are provocative and some of them are physiological. Now, when this particular Eid is present, vibration is present, impulsion is present, some of the impulses are stabilizing. And some of the impulses which are coming out, so they are provocative or fluctuating. And some of them are physiological. So you have to understand this because all the expressions given by the Mahat Tattva, they are not bad. Some of them are good. So taking the food, that is good. Okay. So now, rightly, ahankara in Ayurveda is also classified in 3 ways. Number 1 is Rajasika, another one is Tamasika, and another one is basically it is Sattvika. Okay, Rajasika, Tamasika, and Sattvika ahankaras are explained. So what it suggests, some of the drives may be good and some of the drives may not be logical and some of them may be illegal with a total loss of morality. Okay, so we cannot say anything for these drives. These are the basic drives, primitive drives. It will be present in each and every person. Okay, there are some good drives are also there. Some of them are illogical drives are also there. Some of them are totally illegal drives will be also there. But this is the basic drives and this cannot be rejected. Now, Ayurveda, it is very clear that to develop the baby with good morality, good behavior and good personality, you need to interfere at this level of the fetus itself. That means right at the time of the development of the embryo or zygote itself. Because this proliferation starts from that time itself. Formation of the Mahat Tattva from the Avyakta Prakriti. From this Avyakta Prakriti, Mahat Tattva, there is production of this Eid, which is nothing but ahankara. So now when this Eid is produced, it is of 3 types. Some of them are stabilizing, some of them are fluctuating, and some of them are physiological. Now, you have to increase the physiological drives and you have to increase the stabilizing drives and you have to decrease the fluctuating drives. So when you interfere in this particular part, then you are able to produce a progeny with healthy progeny with the good psychological facets. Now, of course, the exact factors which governs this psychological development through this Eid is not yet clearly understood in Ayurveda. It is not clearly told, but they have tried to do it with the post-marital and intrauterine intervention that I have done. Okay, exactly, actually, how these drives are modified, how it can be controlled. This part is not known to anybody, and even Ayurveda also there is so much explanation is available. But one thing is very clear: they try to produce more and more sattvika drives. They try to produce more and more stabilizing drives instead of rajasika drives. So that's ahankara, rajasika, sattvika, and tamasika ahankara. So they try to produce more and more sattvika ahankara drives with the sattvic property. So they produce more and more drives with the tamasika property for stabilization purpose. But they reduce the rajasika property drives by different methods. These methods are followed in the post-marital life also, and some of them are followed in the intrauterine life also. Now, so how to develop ahankara or Eid in a positive way? This is now very important. How to develop this Eid or ahankara in a positive way? If the partner desires a baby with who should be famous, suppose if a partners couples decide that they want a baby, they should have a baby with who should be very famous and who should be well versed in the science and who should be a popular speaker. These things are explained in Upanishad and it is Burhadaranyaka, it is mentioned. Then, if they want this type of baby, desiring this type of baby, then both partners should take boiled rice with the meat and butter, and wife and husband should take it for a few days before the coitus daily. This is one of the methods explained to increase the Eid in a positive way. And they also told that one should follow the strict Rajaswala Paricharya. That is what I told. The care of the adolescent lady or women during the menstrual flow time, and also Rutumati Charya. Okay, Rutumati Paricharya is also, that is care of the lady during the ovulation time. So all these things makes to produce a good fetus with the optimum psychological properties. Okay, so they should also indulge in religious activities and look at and memorize the holy things daily. And quality of the fetus also depends upon the marriage rites, methods followed, and also psychological and emotional status of the both parents. So now, if you interfere in these areas, that means they have explained some of the food materials that has to be taken. They explained that some of the paricharyas, procedures has to be followed. And it's not a one-time procedure. Every time it has to be followed. And they have to keep themselves stress-free. Then they have to look at the holy things and cool and calm things daily. And they should strictly follow the marriage rites and all those things. Then we can change these Eid or drives in a positive way. This is what is the main intention. Now, development of the Eid and the maternal factors in the Ayurveda. Now, what happens? Now, a fetus is developing or embryo is developing. In the meantime, there is also development of the Eid. Okay, these drives are also developed. In terms of Ayurveda, they are nothing but ahankaras. These ahankaras also develop. So now, maternal emotional state is directly proportional to the or related with the circulating hormonal levels. Okay, so it also influences the Eid of the baby. This is Eid of the fetus. This is mentioned in Nelson's textbook of pediatrics. Maternal emotional states and circulating hormonal levels, they indirectly or directly affects the Eid psychological state of the child or developing embryo. Now the emotions of the partners have got a great role in the child's psychology. Emotions of the partner before conception, at the time of the conception, and even after the conception. Okay, especially after the conception, emotions of the mother plays a very important role. Now, desires of the mother, okay, are nothing but the Eid of the baby. This is what I want to stress. Now, that is called as Dauruda. So during the time of Dauruda, that means we know that when the baby is developing, the fetus is developing inside, at a one particular stage, the mother starts with some of the desires. Suddenly she want to eat some sour thing, some of the sweetish thing. She want to travel somewhere. So suddenly she develop different types of desire to take different types of fruits, or to go or roam and travel somewhere, and she want to visit some of the places, she want to see somebody personally. Suddenly she develops such wishes. Now Ayurveda says, what is these wishes? These wishes are nothing but, these are not the wishes of the mother. The mother has never shown such wishes previously. Now suddenly she is showing. That means these are nothing but the wishes of the growing fetus. Now how come these wishes come? These are the Eid of the fetus. Eid or ahankar, primitive needs, basic needs, which is exhibited by the developing embryo, and that has been exhibited through the mother as desires of the mother. We will call it as Dauhruda interests. Okay, so we will call it as Dauhruda factors. So now, if these E's are not fulfilled, actually, basically, this is nothing but, or ahankar is nothing but, this is expressed by the child, fetus, and that is expressed through the maternal phase. That's all. Otherwise, it is basically the Eid of the developing embryo or fetus. Now, if you are not fulfilling these particular wishes, that is, if you are not fulfilling the Dauhruda Ichha or Dauhruda desires, then it is to Dauhruda Avamana, insulting the Dauhruda Ichha or maternal or this ahankara of the child. So that may lead to, Ayurveda mentions that this may lead to some of the disorders. This may lead to some of the developmental problems like dwarfism, crippling, Fakaroga, or deafnudism, or sometimes Vamana, that is the short stature, or dwarfism, Mukatva, etc. So these are developmental problems occur if you do not respect the desires of the baby. Okay, desires of the mother, indirectly it is nothing but the desires of the developing embryo. Similarly, the Avamanajanya rogas are mentioned, that is the disorders which occur because of disrespecting the desires of this baby. So a big list of disorders are also explained. In turn, it is very clear that so these desires has to be respected and fulfilled, because this is not the desire of the mother, this is the desires of the developing fetus or developing embryo, which is expressing his basic needs or basic tendencies or basic vibrations in the form of this Eid or ahankara. Now, development of the indriyas takes place after third month, isn't it? After third month, the scenario changes, because up to 3 months, there is no formation of the sensory organs in the fetus. And after 3 months, what happens? There is formation of the sensory organs. And later, this Eid which is present so far by the mother, now it is expressed extensively through the maternal part, and it enjoys its drives. Previously, see, there is no formation of the indriyas in the fetus. Once the indriyas are formed, now these Eids which are unorganized previously, now it is start expressing by using these sensory organs or Eid. Okay, sensory organs, or would say sensory organs are Jnanendriyas. Okay, so then this is now this particular expression will be open. Okay, it is well exhibited now. So a pregnant woman during the 3rd and 4th month onwards express the special desires of having something, eating something, or looking something very often. So if it is not the, again, it is not the wish of the mother, rather it is the wish of the fetus which has to be fulfilled. So if Eid of the fetus is not fulfilled, the fetus will be under stress. As I told, if your basic needs are not fulfilled, what happens? If the fetus will be not fulfilled for its wishes, then fetus will be under stress, anxiousness, angry, agitation, frustrated, and it adversely affects on the development of the fetus. It adversely affects the development of the fetus, as explained in Ayurveda, and therefore these wishes has to be fulfilled. Now, this particular stage, when the fetus is also exhibiting its drives or its wishes or desires, and the mother is also expressing it as a mediator, and this particular stage is called as Dauhruda stage. Dauhruda means two Hrudayas. There are two hearts. One is heart of the baby, another one is heart of the mother. So this is a stage where Dauhruda stage will be there. And insulting the desires is called as Dauhruda Avamana. And if the pregnant woman is the desire of, sometimes very unusual, the wishes will come to the mother sometime. So suppose If the pregnant lady having a wishes of seeing a king or ruler, it it suggests that she will give birth to a child who is very with good prosperity and fortune. See, these are the predictions. These are the predictions. Suppose when we are discussing about the desires of the mother, and if the mother is having desire of looking at a king or visiting a king and ruler, etc., it suggests that what is actually these are the wishes of the baby, isn't it? So this actually given a prediction that this child will be very much prosperity and fortunate in future. Similarly, if the mother is interested in a decoration, again, these are the wishes of the baby from inside. Okay, so woman is interested in decoration during the pregnancy, so it suggests that she will going to give birth to an elegant and lovely child. Okay, or you can say romantic child. A woman showing the undue interest in praying. Suppose woman is very much interested in praying and visiting the temples and spending more time with the God and all. So then it suggests that the child will be born. The child born will be with the good moral values, because this is the direct indication of the psyche of the child and mental status of the child or growing fetus. Okay, so mother want to see a horror movie, suppose during the pregnancy, so it may suggest that the child may have some misbehavior in future and is very naughty, maybe. A woman with interest of eating lizard meat, these are explained in the classics. A woman with the interest of eating the lizard meat, see, such type of undue desires will appear during this time. Okay, so woman with the interest of eating the lizard meat, we will call it as ghoda mamsa, then it's likely to be give birth to a sleepy and firm child. Sleepy and or nidralu, sleepy and firm child. Similarly, if the mother is showing interest to take the cow's meat, suddenly, previously she is not at all taking that, now she want to take the cow's meat. So it suggests that child will be born will be hairy, red colored eyes, and also valiant, very much valiant, courageous, and determination, etc. So these are some of the predictions that is done, because these desires are not the desires of the mother, these are the desires of the growing fetus. So because of which we can assess or predict the psychological nature of the growing fetus, because of which these wishes are coming. So we can predict something here. Now what happens to Eid or Ahankara later? Okay, now the Eid is formed, it is started expressing, and mother is expressing it through her, and these Eids are developing. Now after the birth, so previously these Eids which is produced by the fetus, it is subjected to the uterine environment. And from the uterine environment, it is taken by the mother, and mother is exhibiting it. Okay, so there is only interaction between the mother and the fetus in the fetal life. Okay, now once the baby is delivered, it's coming out, it's the baby, and now it has been into the new environment, external environment, isn't it? Now there is no mother here. Okay, mother is there, but she is not directly feeding or spoon feeding the child. Now, after the birth, the same Eid which is present, which is previously supposed to affect the maternal environment, now it is exposed to the external environment. Okay, so after birth, there will be interaction of this Eid with the environmental factors. In the environment, there are some family members will be there, some relatives will be there, a new environment will be there, some animals will be there. Okay, so with environmental factors of the race and the family and the religion and the satisfaction of the needs and the parental love. Okay, so now what happens? Now these particular vibrations which is previously present in the form of ahankara now enter into another stage, because now it is reacting with another environment. Previously only maternal environment is supposed to react against it. Now it is reacting with the external environment. Some new people will be there, good some relatives will be there, and religion or customs will be there, then religious stimulus will be there, race and family customs will be there. Okay, so this has to be subjected to new environment now. So this leads to some of the changes in the psychology of the child. Okay, now it leads to the changes in the psychology of the child. Now these instincts or drives of the baby, if it is modified as per the environmental factors in and around, and now this will likely to take two different paths. Okay, when this Eid is now open to the environment, now looking at the reaction from the environment, the child is developed his psyche in two different ways. After the birth, there is the interaction of the Eid with the environmental factors of the race and family. Now, what are these two important routes that a Eid can take place? Okay, one is Krodha, another one is Harsha. That means a little or normal aggression in a child is always considered as normal. It acts as a stimulus for the better psychological construction with the latent abilities and the potentiality. Therefore, Kashyapa Prasasta Balalakshana, he says. Okay, so one of the qualities is a little kopa is important. So some little quantity of anger or agitation is important. So that helps to develop a good type of psychological construction. But excess aggression in a child due to very stringent rules, strict punishments, scary talks, abusing, lack of love and empathy, sympathy, etc., that may lead to the negative pathway. Okay. What happens is, after the birth, now if Eid is subjected to very stringent rules or strict punishments, scary talks, there is no sympathy, there is no love, there is no concern given to the child is totally neglected, then it leads to waste of more and more energy on aggression and little energy is left for the libido. Okay, so this leads to poor and abnormal development of learning, behavior and personality of the child. So Krodha and Harsha are inversely proportional. So that means if these Eids are rightly taken by the environmental factors also, that means environment around the child, including man, mother, everybody. Okay, so then the child will go in the right way. Right way. There is no much energy loss, and all the energy which is present there, if these Eids are respected, even in the external environment, then this energy will be utilized for the development of learning, behavior, and personality development. Otherwise, his energy is totally wasted on agitation and aggression. Okay, so this is one point. So the inadequate Harsha with more aggression like Kama, Krodha, etc. are characteristic of Rajoguna. The child fails to get what he desires, that is Kama. The aggression increases. Okay, so Krodha leads to indiscrimination in perception of the good and bad, and grief or troubles. This is told in the Gita. Moha Sanjayate, like that. Buddhinashtam. So stability of the mind is lost due to the more Rajoguna. So what happens is, when there is more agitation, when there is more anger, when there is more angry, there is more anxiety because the Eid is not fulfilled according to the need, it is going in the wrong way, then it is more energy loss. There is more Rajoguna, and that more Rajoguna leads to unstable quality of the mind. Now, earliest way of assessing and modulating the development is by the study of libido and aggression in relation to himself and others. The same is mentioned as Harsha and Krodha in Ayurveda. The both satisfaction and frustrations are normally seen in a growing child, and that will be equal mixing of these two in a normal growing child. This is what is explained in Ayurveda. Kashyapa very clearly says, a newborn child who is born become angry, cry, sleep, wake up, and show the signs of satisfaction, show the signs of aggression, and evacuate the bowels, and urine normally, and takes the feed in a normal course, and digest it properly. These are some of the normal qualities of a newborn baby explained according to Kashyapa. It also includes the angry and aggression. So little amount of the aggression, little amount of the anger is needed for the proper development of the psychology, but it should not be too much. Thus, it is obvious that any psychological disturbance has got its effects on the disturbance of feeding and excretory function. This is one more important point. Okay, so any psychological disturbance has also got its effects in the disturbance of the feeding pattern. You know that a frustrated child, a crying child, frustrated child, she will not take the feed properly. And meantime, the excretion is also affected. So tension of the child should be kept under control or under normal limits, and child should be kept unhurted. And if you increase the tension of the child, not feeding properly, not giving the care properly, okay, many things. and not fulfilling the basic requirements, security, not you are providing security to the child, in the sense you're not giving love, sympathy, etc., concern, etc., then it increases the tension of the child. But we should not do that. To develop a good libido, harsha, and then we have to keep all these things under limitation. So this is what we are talking about, ease and its reaction. Now, what do you mean by ego? The personality which develops from the interaction of ease and the environment is called as ego. So far we have seen that, isn't it? When, depending upon the external environment stimulus to the basic needs of the baby or ease, okay, now child develops a personality, okay, so it may go in a positive way, it may go in a negative way. So the personality which a child develops after the interaction of ease, which was previously present in the form of drives in the intrauterine life, and after coming to the external world, it is subject to external environment, same ease. Now there is the interaction. And the personality of the child or psychological status of the child which develop after this interaction, that is called as ego. That is called as ego. This ego may be influenced greatly by the mother as she is in close contact with the baby, and baby depends on her for all the basic requirements. And even the datri, which is a wet nurse like status. So when datri or wet nurse may be also influence the baby. So before appointing a wet nurse, I will mention so many strict rules and regulations because she has got direct impact on the developing psyche of the baby. Okay. Now here mother plays a very important role because ego, that is personality which develops from interaction of ease from the external along with the external environment. In the external environment, one of the basic factor which always in close contact with the baby is always mother. So mother's reaction to the baby's needs, that plays a very important role in the development of the personality, behavior, and learning capabilities in the growing baby. Now we have got another term called as superego. Now after some time, what happens after 3 or 4 years, the child grows in the society and he gradually understands the code of conduct to be followed in the society, and when he moves in between. And code of conduct and disciplinary methods also he will come to know. So which is right or which is wrong, he will decide now. And the value system of the society also he will understand. Ideals, etc. also he will keep. And this is called as superego. Now, same ego which is developing so far, when it is subjected to certain social rules, certain family rules, certain family customs or social customs, value system, then there is again change in the psychological behavior. There is a modification in the psychological behavior. And this psychological behavior is developed after subjecting this particular ego into the society, when the child starts moving in the society, and that is called as superego. Okay, so Ayurveda gives a strong stress, that means very firmly believes that the development of the powerful super ego is very important to develop a good moral system, morality in future. Okay, so now development of powerful super ego, how it can be done? This is a unique concept of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda always advocates that educate the child as per the order or class which he belongs to befitting age. Okay, then for better construction of the ego, he should be always taught with the moral values and also performing one's own duties in the society. Therefore, it is called dharma-yacha, vinaya-yacha. Okay, so great importance has been also given to the Indian books, given in India books for this same samskaras, different types of samskaras will be followed. That we will discuss in another class. These samskaras also imparts very good psychological benefits. And this is a part of developing the super ego. For example, Upanayana Samskara. Okay? For example, Chuda Karma Samskara, Upanayana Samskara. So these are the part of developing the super ego. Okay? So he will be, in Upanayana Samskara, he will be taught with many rules and regulations that how he should move in the society. So teaching the child at the right path, that is for the better construction of ego and super ego, will produce a very good child with the optimum psychological stability, cognition, and memory, etc. And his moral values are at the high level. Now, how to develop this superego? Some of the other methods are also explained. A child who is upholder and virtuous of his upholder of the religion, Okay, so that means one who the child who is upholder and virtuous of his is also the upholder of the religion. That means to maintain a particular religion or dharma, right path of living. Dharma means right path of living. It is very important to be a child to be moral and equally religious. So in developing ego, mother plays a vital role, whereas in developing superego, that is child is subjected to the social customs. Now father plays a very important role. Father plays a very important role. Father is responsible for the crimes of the child, actually. Because in the first beginning part, when the ego is going on, it is the responsibility of the mother to take care of that. Okay. When child will enter into the stage of superego, now it is the responsibility of the father to take care of the child. So when child is able to take the food, he has to be taught with certain rules and regulations. How to take the food, how to sit, how to wash the hands. Okay, he has to take the food from the right hand. So these are some of the basic rules and regulations that he has to follow if he is moving in the society. How to speak with the elders, how to speak boldly and clearly. This has to be taught to the child. And basically, this is the work of father. And toilet training should be trained at this particular time. Toilet training should be given. Interaction with the society should be encouraged. He is encouraged to talk more and more with the new people in the society. And like this, the good property should be always cultivated. And this is how you can develop superego. Many of the samskaras and many other procedures which are explained in the Ayurveda favors the development of superego. Now, there are some other explanations regarding the development of the superego. At 6 years, they are taught with the numbers and names of the cardinal points. Then at 7 years, they are conscious about their own sex. That has to be taught. Then boys and girls are not allowed to occupy the same mat and sit and eat together. So now this is the place where they have to start differentiating themselves. Okay, there is some basic difference between boy and girl, and they need to understand that. Okay, there are basic hormonal differences, there is developmental differences are there. So they have to start giving respect to each other by this age itself. Okay, differentiation here they have to sit apart. It does not suggest that they should be separated. Now that means they are giving some respect mutually. So at 8 years they are required to follow the elders, and they are taught to obey the teaching of the elders. At 9 years, they are taught to the number of the days. So, like this, every explanation is given in Ayurveda. Okay, Chanakya's opinion, where Chanakya says that in the first 5 years, child should be given all the cares, rules, all the care, love, sympathy, etc. Whereas in the next, starting from 5 years to next 10 years, up to 15 years, child should be taught with all the social customs and social rules, moral rules, and religious rules. And it may require some of the punishment, but it has to be taught to the child. And once the child gets into the age of 16 years, with adolescence, child should be treated like a friend, and it should not be taught with any rules and regulations. And this is the explanation, famous explanation of Chanakya. Now, continuing the superego, how to develop the superego again. By the 10th year, the boy is sent to a master outside to stay with him over the night and learn the polite conversation. At the age of 13, they are able to learn the music, dance, and repetition of the stanza. He learns the archery and chariot driving at the age of 20. These are all explanations given in Upanishad and all. Okay, and by the 30, he will have a wife. That means he will be married and he will have a wife. Similarly, for the girl child, the teaching will be different. One must not sit down on a coach where the superior occupies the seat. Okay, so he should rise and meet a superior and salute him. One of the basic rules and regulations that a growing child has to follow when he is growing or developing. There are some instances how to develop the superego, how to respond when somebody meets, like a Brahmin or Kshatriya, etc. And it is told that following the adharma, unrightfulness, will not produce the effect immediately, but advance in slowly. That means if you follow any sort of unrightfulness in terms of kaya, vacha, manasa, so it may not produce effect at times immediately, but it definitely has got a long-term effect. It may affect in the last part of your life, okay? That means in the old age, or sometimes it may also affect. Sometimes it may also affect the next generation. So a mistake committed will not go back without paying or showing its effects. So hence, inculcating the moral value is very, very important. Hence, developing the super ego in the child is very, very important. So this is about the development of the psychological properties during the intrauterine life and extrauterine life, okay, immediately after birth. And in the intrauterine life, it is Dauruda care, okay, second trimester care, Dauruda care, which is very important, and it will going to help to development of the ego and superego in the positive way, and it increases the sattvic nature of the child, and child will be morally and religiously and psychologically fit in the society. So thank you very much for patiently listening, and the next portion of the theme we will continue in the next class. Do not forget to subscribe my channel and also give the valuable comments. With this we conclude. Thank you very much.